Man Man sat listening to her grandfather recount tales of the past. Now old and frail, his greatest regret was betraying his sworn brother and ally, the king of Gai. Years ago, invaders attacked Gai, but the Chao family remained idle, sending not a single soldier. As a result, Gai swiftly fell. He told her about Gai Thu, a boy forced to face both internal and external enemies. Gai Thu's older brother had warned him never to trust anyone, revealing the Chao family's treachery. Before his death, Gai Thu's brother hid him in a small chest as enemy soldiers swarmed. The brother, weak but valiant, fought bravely before being killed. Gai Thu clearly saw Li Su, the brutal killer, his face scarred, a sight he'd never forget. The Chao family faced a difficult choice. Intervening risked endangering their own people. This decision weighed heavily on the family for a long time. A divination by Man Man led them to withdraw their troops. Now, Gai Thu, having built a formidable army, was about to march on the capital. Li Su's conquest of Shidu years ago would soon be reversed. Man Man knew Gai Thu harbored a deep resentment, and helping Li Su would only condone his crimes. However, if they did nothing, after retaking Shidu, Gai Thu would likely conquer Yanzhou and seize the crucial base at Panyi. This worried the grandfather greatly. But the widowed wife of old Gai Hu, Gai Thu's grandmother, proposed a marriage alliance to avert war. While beneficial, it was uncertain if Gai Thu would agree to marry the daughter of his sworn enemies, 3 generations of whom had fallen on the battlefield. The Chao family was troubled. But by the river, others laughed and played, including Da Chao. Carefree and unconcerned, Man Man approached her, discussing the current situation. Only when she learned of the proposed marriage to Gai Thu did Da Chao's demeanor change. Just as Man Man returned, Xiao Dao informed her of the arrival of Lu Pian, Lu Yan's uncle, bearing a marriage proposal. The Chao family found the gifts perfunctory, far from the lavish offerings Lu Yan's family boasted. Yet no one, not even Man Man's close companion Xiao Dao, voiced any objection. In stark contrast, on the distant battlefield, Gai Thu's formidable generals sharpened their swords, their faces grim. 4 generals prepared their blades, not for battle, but to carve up a roasting animal. Then Gong Sun Yang arrived, the only strategist in Gai Thu's camp. He delivered a letter. The grandmother had arranged a marriage between Gai Thu and the eldest Chao daughter. Failure to comply would leave Gai Thu vulnerable to a combined force of Li Su and the Chao family. Yet, this did not deter Gai Thu's advance under the banner. Kill Li Su, exterminate the Chao clan. Shidu fell back into Gai Thu's hands. That night, Man Man and Da Chao shared a bed. Both sleepless and troubled, Da Chao heard a noise outside. It was Bai Jie, the strong stable hand whom she loved. Without the arranged marriage, their union was doubtful. But now it was too late. Da Chao, prioritizing the greater good, accepted her fate. Back in the room, she found Man Man awake, who had witnessed the scene between her and Bai Jie. Man Man gathered Da Chao's belongings, taking her outside to Bai Jie. Man Man willingly sacrificed herself, agreeing to take Da Chao's place. The sisters wept as Da Chao rode away with Bai Jie. The next day, Da Chao's disappearance caused panic. The importance of the marriage alliance was clear to all. Zhang Pu set his sights on Man Man. Some opposed, but most prioritized survival, ignoring Man Man's engagement to Lu Yan, who paled in comparison to Gai Thu. Ignoring the others, Man Man went to her grandfather. The next day, Man Man, bearing the token of Pan Yi, arrived at the city gates, only to have Gai Thu draw his bow. The national priest intervened, allowing the bridal party entry. Over the days spent with Gai Thu, Man Man thought she understood him. She handed over the Pan Yi seal. But instead of any words of gratitude, Gai Thu immediately expelled her and her entourage from Xindu. Man Man couldn't believe it. Realizing she'd been mistaken about him, Gai Thu remained silent, merely repaying the Chao family's previous actions. As Man Man was driven away, a crowd gathered. The national priest objected, deeming Gai Thu's actions impulsive and reckless. Gai Thu disregarded his concerns, only his burning hatred mattered. The priest protested, emphasizing Man Man's vulnerability as a woman. Gai Thu considered this but said nothing. Meanwhile, upon hearing of Man Man's expulsion, the citizens of Xindu attacked her carriage with stones, making her escape difficult. They were then ambushed by Lu Yan's men. Xiao Dao and the others knew Lu Yan was no good, fearing they were escaping one wolf only to fall into another's den. Man Man had to devise a counter-strategy. Upon exiting the carriage, Man Man feigned tears, deceiving Lu Yan. However, he was not without his own plans. He intended to take Man Man to Pan Yi, using her to gain easy access to the city. News of Man Man's expulsion reached the Chow family. They knew of her plan regarding Pan Yi but couldn't stop her. Aware of Man Man's nature, Bai Jie informed Da Chao of Man Man's situation, and she, wanting to check on Man Man, set out with Bai Jie to wherever Man Man was. That night, Gai Thu ordered his troops to advance on Pan Yi the following day. The national priest then entered, reporting that Lu Yan's forces were already defending Pan Yi. Gai Thu refused to believe it, since he possessed the seal. He didn't know Man Man could open the city gates. Enraged, he ordered that Man Man be considered a deserter who had fled with Lu Yan, with orders to kill her if captured. They immediately marched towards Pan Yi. Man Man awoke from a nightmare where Gai Thu attacked the Chow family, showing no mercy. Awakened in fear, her companions wiped away her sweat. Man Man vowed to prevent such a tragedy. Outside, Lu Yan waited, wanting to discuss their marriage. His uncle was displeased that Man Man, upon marrying Gai Thu, had surrendered Pan Yi, yet he remained silent. Lu Yan wanted to finalize the now interrupted wedding, but Man Man refused, concealing her feelings while buying time. When Lu Yan went out, he encountered Yang Feng, the Pan Yi magistrate, who wanted to see Man Man, but Lu Yan prevented it on the grounds that she was unwell. Yang Feng left without further comment. Lu Yan worried about Gai Thu possessing the Pan Yi seal, and so incited the people with rumors about Gai Thu's cruelty. Overhearing this, Man Man understood Lu Yan's strategy. Just then, Yang Feng directed people to deliver food supplies, giving Man Man a chance to speak with him. She revealed her knowledge of impending events, suggesting that if Lu Yan disregarded the people, mercy would be unnecessary. Man Man then asked for directions to Yangning Canal and left. Upon her arrival, Lu Yan also appeared. Anticipating his plan, she suggested a strategy to make his actions more meticulous. But Lu Yan wanted to eliminate not only Gai Thu but also the citizens of Xindu. Man Man tried to dissuade him, but he insisted, ordering his soldiers to bind and imprison everyone. Man Man knew Lu Yan was wicked, but not to this extent. Things went smoothly until the wedding venue was discussed. Both sides were unwilling to compromise, each with their own hidden agendas. Seeing this, Gai Thu, without further thought, lifted the curtain where Man Man sat. Unexpectedly, his gaze lingered a moment before he finally agreed, adding that he didn't have much patience. After he left Man Man a book, a detailed map of Pan Yi's terrain. Man Man understood his intentions, even without the arranged marriage. Seizing Pan Yi was a distinct possibility for Gai Thu. Her priority now was to find Gai Thu's weaknesses to determine her next move. The following day, everyone discussed Gai Thu. Xiao Dao had gathered information from various sources, corroborating what Man Man already knew. Gai Thu was cruel, petty, and ruthless. Xiao Dao recounted how Li Su's body was dismembered and placed in a chest, a story that made her nauseous. Man Man, however, remained impassive. Li Su deserved his fate, his crimes too numerous to count. Man Man's concern was Gai Thu's treatment of Shidu's populace. She learned that life under his rule wasn't easy. He even forbade people from worshipping at the ancestral shrine, ordering its demolition, a move met with public disapproval. The people in Gai Thu were far from harmonious. The next day, Gai Thu and the national priest conducted an inspection. The people worked diligently, addressing Gai Thu as Lord, but their faces showed no enthusiasm. Seeing Gai Thu sigh, the priest remarked that the people of Shidu had suffered under Li Su's oppression, and now, Gai Thu's ill reputation prevented cooperation. They feared another cycle of suffering. Meanwhile, Man Man observed from the highest point in Xindu, surveying the city and its hard-working people. Dressed in red, she drew many eyes, including Gai Thu's, who saw her only as a pretty, useless distraction. Gai Thu faced significant difficulties due to the people's unwillingness to cooperate, but these were eventually resolved thanks to Man Man. Hearing this, Gai Thu showed no reaction. Later, returning to his residence, he found numerous people presenting flowers to Man Man. Their eyes met. Man Man quickly rose to bow. Later, as he sat with Man Man, she was careful in her words and actions. But to Gai Thu, it seemed meaningless. He wouldn't be fooled by the Chow family again. That evening, Man Man consulted with an old woman, well versed in local affairs. Madame Zhang recounted the story of the wall Gai Thu had ordered demolished. A wall met with fierce resistance. It was built using the remains of soldiers who died on the battlefield and had become a sacred place of remembrance and mourning. Madame Zhang gave Man Man a prayer amulet. Not far away, Gai Thu arrived, furious to see the wall still standing. Despite his orders, the priest tried to explain, but Gai Thu wouldn't listen. Seeing Man Man, he approached her. He hadn't forgotten the wall's significance. Enraged, he ordered its destruction. Nearby, Zhen Ji, a longtime protector of the people, drew his knife. The priest explained Zhen Ji's actions to Gai Thu, prompting him to relent. The next day was Zhen Ji's execution. His words resonated with the populace. The situation was tense when Man Man intervened. Her proposal, while infuriating the people, helped Gai Thu maintain public favor. However, Man Man was ostracized, forced to take refuge on high ground. Gai Thu recognized her act, but he didn't care. He treated her wound and left. That night, there was great commotion. Gai Thu had officially dismantled the wall, a symbol of suffering and loss. His words won over the hearts of the people. Gai Thu's composure faltered only when he saw a relic of his deceased grandfather from the battlefield, rekindling his hatred. After Lu Yan's army retreated in fear, Man Man confronted Wei Xiao. She slapped him, then, seeing everyone's gaze, quickly sat down and wept. She was terrified, caught between two warring sides, especially with Wei Xiao's intention to use her as a sacrificial offering. After the others left, Wei Hu quickly tended to Man Man's wounds. Seeing her continued weeping, instead of comforting her, he used other soldiers' examples to chastise her. Man Man didn't retort, and after venting her frustrations, Wei Xiao carried her back himself, her tears falling onto his neck as he remained silent. While on Wei Xiao's back, Man Man, instead of fear, confessed her dislike for the arranged marriage. She had initially been betrothed to Lu Yan, who initially scorned her meager dowry, only returning after learning of her possession of the Panyi seal. Wei Xiao, however, was worse, taking her seal and expelling her from Xindu. Wei Xiao, tired of her complaints, warned her to stop. Safe at home, Xiao Dao, while combing Man Man's hair, inquired about her marriage to Wei Xiao. Man Man, with no other option, decided to marry him, but to make him willingly accept her, she planned to work on his psychology. Meanwhile, Chao Jiazu, father, passed away after giving his last instructions, his greatest regret being breaking his promise to Wei Hu. Though Pan Yi was captured, Wei Xiao's reputation, already spread among the people, prevented their acceptance of him, mirroring the situation in Xindu. This was a major headache for Wei Xiao and his generals. Solutions existed, but Wei Xiao rejected the most effective one, using Man Man to appease the people. While Wei Xiao remained absent, his generals attempted to engage Man Man, but Xiao Dao repelled them all with repetitive, dismissive phrases, becoming a legend among the generals. The generals, undefeated in battle, were stymied by Man Man, each reporting her illnesses to Wei Xiao. Even he was baffled. The generals, except the national duke who favored a gentler approach, wanted to forcefully subdue her. Wei Xiao, wielding a fake sword, went to confront Man Man, followed by his entourage. They found her already departing in a carriage with others. Wei Xiao didn't stop them. His group followed Man Man's carriage. Her carriage finally stopped at Da Chao's location, brought there by Bai Jie. Worried about her sister, Da Chao had returned. After hearing Man Man's story, Da Chao couldn't bear to see her suffer. Man Man, understanding her sister's feelings, revealed her affection for Wei Xiao, highlighting his positive qualities. Wei Xiao, overhearing, straightened up unconsciously. The sisters parted in tears. Wei Xiao's group returned. Even the national preceptor viewed Man Man differently, no longer associating her with the Chao family's negative perception. Her selflessness for her sister's happiness had changed their perception. That evening, Wei Xiao visited Man Man, who remained calm and collected. He presented her with medicine. Man Man curiously accepted it. Wei Xiao apologized for expelling her from Xindu. Man Man's eyes widened, speechless. She could only listen as he cautioned her against overexerting herself in the mountains, revealing his knowledge of her meeting with Da Chao. The next day, Man Man, as hoped, addressed the people. Her words touched their hearts, dispelling their fear, and subtly softening Wei Xiao's defenses. The situation progressed favorably for both sides. Afterward, Man Man visited the Yangning Canal, now desolate. Since Wei Xiao gave her the Panyi map, she recognized the canal's significance. She recounted the events predicted by the ancestral hall about Xin Du's capture by Li Su. The next day, while Man Man was resting, news arrived along with a death notice. Her grandfather had passed away 3 days prior. The news only reached her now. Man Man wept inconsolably, knowing no one loved her as much as her grandfather, and lamenting that she couldn't see him one last time. The following morning, Wei Xiao also received the news and the obituary. He smirked, while his animosity towards Man Man was waning. He still harbored resentment towards her grandfather. The generals hadn't forgotten their hatred either, each wishing to inflict further punishment. The late arrival of the obituary made it clear the Chao family intended to use this event to prevent Man Man's marriage to Wei Xiao. Soon after, Wei Xiao visited Man Man. Upon meeting her, he stated directly that the events weren't coincidental. He simply wanted to know Man Man's thoughts. Upon hearing her response, Wei Xiao swiftly ran into the forest. He returned quickly, carrying a snow leopard. Man Man knew what would follow but couldn't stop it. The next day, everyone bustled with wedding preparations. Yet a somber mood hung over Man Man and her entourage. As the bride arrived at the ancestral hall, Wei Xiao gazed at the memorial tablets. The pain of his past resurfacing as hatred welled within him. Despite this, he allowed Man Man to enter. The generals stood rigidly as she walked, their hands clenched. The ceremony proceeded, but Man Man was the only one actively participating. Wei Xiao didn't even glance at her. The arduous ceremony finally ended, and Man Man was taken to her chambers, leaving the heavy-faced generals outside. Inside, Man Man waited for Wei Xiao. He entered, spoke coldly, and left. Man Man finally broke down, unable to contain her grief over her grandfather's death and the pain of marrying during her mourning period. The events seemingly concluded. Tomorrow, Man Man would depart for Wei. Unable to keep her grandfather's memorial tablet with her, she could only stay by his side for one more day. The next morning, the army departed for Wei. They traveled relentlessly. That night, a torrential downpour made the mountain roads treacherous. But Wei Xiao pressed on. Stopping would delay the ancestral rites for his father and elder brother. Despite the difficult conditions and the accompanying female soldiers, the group continued without rest. Finally reaching Wei, people rushed out to greet them at the city gate. Zheng Chu Yu, Wei Xiao's cousin, waited, informing him of the situation at Wei Manor. Wei Xiao gave Chu Yu instructions regarding Man Man before leaving, as the ancestral rites for his father and brother, who died in battle 14 years prior, precluded Man Man from entering the city gates. The 4 generals were stationed outside as per Wei Xiao's orders. Inside the carriage, everyone felt injustice for Man Man, but she understood Wei Xiao's reasons and didn't wish to cause him further difficulty. Unsure how to face the situation, Wei Xiao quickly proceeded to the ancestral rites. Where everyone was assembled, he solemnly offered incense. 14 years prior, as a child, he had been ridiculed, especially by Wei Dian, only spared further humiliation by the intervention of his mother, Shi. Today, he finally avenged that deep-seated resentment. After Wei Xiao's offering, Wei Dian arrived, immediately questioning his nephew's marriage to the daughter of an enemy. Only Shi supported Wei Xiao within the Wei family. Others opposed his marriage to a Chao. No one in the Wei family had forgotten the Chao family's betrayal. Ignoring Wei Dian's accusations, Wei Xiao presented the Panyi seal. Wei Dian, unyielding, continued his attacks. Wei Xiao calmly countered by accusing Wei Dian of ignoring his requests for support when he captured Xin Du. Outside, the rain poured relentlessly, thunder splitting the sky. Man Man's carriage remained isolated, injured and near her breaking point. She endured the storm's fury. The wind threatened to tear the carriage roof away. Xiao Dao and Xiao Dao, along with the driver, struggled to secure it. The 4 generals remained nearby,